Max.
So something we're going.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm live. Okay, good. So I'll get going then. That's okay. All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna introduce myself real quick. We're gonna talk buyer consultation. My name is Lugashi with the Zamir Group Keller, Williamstown Life, technically out of the Antenna Fly office. We do have our own office, our own mega agent office in Fairlawn, New Jersey. We are the top team for the last 7 years, units and volume in the entire NJMLS. We did 160 million last year. You see our previous few years before that, 195 the year before that, so on and so forth. What that means to you sitting here, what that means me standing here, well, I'm a mega buyers agent on this team. And I talk to a lot of buyers, have a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, a lot of experiences, and that allows me to share those tips and items of value with you today, so you can shorten your learning curve, be better, faster, and not learn the hard way like I did, hopefully. Yeah, so there is an intention, there is a goal for today's session. It's really to provide you as much value as I possibly can. If I provided you 1, 2, 3 items of value that you can implement in your own businesses to shorten that learning curve and work less, make more, than I did my job. So let's get right into it. I always like to start off with a quote. This is a Benjamin Franklin quote. And obviously we're going to talk about how it relates to our line of work called real estate, but energy and persistence conquer all things. Well, how does it relate to our chosen profession called real estate? Well, we're going to need it. We're going to need that energy and persistence, especially in today's current environment, right? The environment which is not very buyer and buyer friendly. So we're definitely going to need that, because if we are not persistent and consistent, then, well, we're not going to do this line of work very good. So let's get into it. Buyer consultations. Let's talk about the market conditions. What are, we mentioned it before. What are the market conditions like right now? What do you guys say? What do you guys think? Describe it to me. Not enough interest, so low supply. So low supply. So brutal, low supply. What else? Competitive.
Yeah.
Anything else?
High demand.
Yeah, high demand, low supply. I move around a lot and I talk really fast. So yeah, so I would add to that. I would add that it's a brutal, volatile, strong, obnoxious seller's market, right? And there's more active buyers for active single family homes or whatever product you're looking at than ever before, right? We're seeing crazy amount of competition. It's not fun to be a buyer and a buyer's agent yet. Knowing it is what it is, let's improve our skill. Let's improve certain things that we're doing, certain things that we're saying to improve our conversion, improve the likelihood we're able to obtain for our clients and for ourselves as well, and make it happen. This is what we do, right? So going back to what I said before, I don't know if I was on Zoom or not. We cannot give something that we don't have. I cannot communicate the buying process if I don't know the buying process. I cannot communicate the market conditions if I don't know the market conditions. I cannot communicate how to strengthen an offer if I don't know how to strengthen an offer. So what does that mean? What do we need to do on our end?
Learn.
Yeah, we need to prepare, right? We need to prepare ourselves for the opportunity before the opportunity presents itself. Because what happens is, if we don't prepare ourselves for the opportunity when it presents itself, it's more than likely going to be a missed opportunity that somebody else will take advantage of. So let's prepare for the opportunity. Now, what's a tool that can benefit us and the client to improve the likelihood they work with us, and also it allows us to set the expectation, also reduces their anxiety levels, makes them more comfortable with the whole process. What's a tool that we can possibly implement in our systems, in our business, that might do that? What do you guys think?
Consultations.
Yeah, buyer presentations, buyer consultations, discussions, strategy sessions, whatever you want to call it. It does benefit us and the client. So the majority of agents actually don't conduct buyer presentations, consultants, discussions. So the first question I have for you guys is, well, if the majority of agents aren't conducting one, then What do we think is preventing your traditional agent from actually conducting?
Effort,
Effort?
not
This-
knowing how to do it.
Let's touch on both those, because those are slightly different things. It's an effort / time thing, right? Oh, I don't want to spend the time, energy, and effort on conducting one. Well, let me ask you a question. Does it take longer to do a buyer consultation, maybe 30-40 minutes? Or does it take longer to show 30 or 40 homes?
Probably it's consult.
It takes longer to do the
Well,
consult than show
well,
30.
depending
Well,
the
so
effort that you're gonna put into it. If you're gonna research 30 homes, then yes, it's going to take long to search the home. The consult
no, not search, show.
shop.
That's what's gonna end up happening. If we're not doing buyer consultation presentations, we're gonna show them every single house. So we're gonna show them many more homes than is necessary, so does it benefit us to actually do a consultation, to put that time, energy, and effort in the presentation, so we don't have to show them that many homes? Because there's a portion of the consultation, it's called a needs analysis. We're discovering what they're looking for. So it gives us the special ability of not showing them certain homes. If we're not spending time on discovering what they're looking for, and we end up showing them everything, you're gonna spend a lot more time, energy, and effort on showings than necessary.
I'm sorry, I thought you said research homes. That's
Oh, okay, and it's actually showing, hey, come on in, pick a seat, any seat, just, it's $10 over here. All right, so, what else you said? I forgot what you said already, the second thing, oh, they don't say,
Yeah.
here's the best part about it, you guys ready? Everybody knows exactly how to do it. And I'll say it is because, and we're gonna get to it, it's just. When you understand the structure, and we're gonna talk about structure. The buyer consultation presentation, what are we talking about? What do we say? Yeah, we say that every single day. Do we not talk about the buying process every single day? We do. Do we not talk about the market conditions every single day? Of course we do. Do we not answer real estate related questions every single day? Yeah, that's the structure of a buyer consultation. So we're gonna talk about that. And here's the best part. Ready for the best part of it? You can't get it wrong. And the reason I say you can't get it wrong is because the person sitting across from you doesn't know what you're supposed to say, so you can't get it. You see how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah, now let's just say theoretically, you forgot to say something. Well, that's okay, just next conversation, next meeting, you say it then, no big deal, see it? So you can't get it wrong, so
It seems so easy.
well, in reality, that's exactly what it is, and obviously, anything that we do for the first time, there's a little bit, naturally, there's a level of excitement, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, depends what kind of spin you want to put on it. And that's okay. The second time you do it, are you more comfortable doing it than the first time? Yeah, and what if the 10th time compared to the second time? Yeah, of course you're more comfortable. You just have to do it. And the more often you do it, the more comfortable you are and you know exactly what to say. Okay. What else is preventing your traditional agent from conducting a buyer presentation consultation? What do you guys think?
The buyer doesn't want to sign the contract.
Well, that's a portion of it. You're referring to the exclusive buyer's agency. That could be at the tail end of a buyer consultation. And the majority of agents never even ask. So they don't get rejected, right? So it's not even a part of the conversation in most cases. That doesn't mean you can't conduct a buyer presentation consultation to make them feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident. So, you know, if you want to add the exclusive buyer's agency to the tail end of your presentation, you definitely could. What was the worst thing that can happen is that they say no and you keep showing them homes anyway. So what else? What is preventing your traditional buyer's agent from conducting a buyer consultation presentation? We said time, we said we don't know what to say. Anything else? Rejection, losing the client. Right, there's all kinds of fun stuff. I can tell you, I can share with you, that it doesn't matter what the excuse, justification, reasons that an agent might come up with. It doesn't, there's no advantage to it, there's no value in it. Conducting one will always be more valuable and advantageous to them and to us. And that's what we're gonna talk about. So let's talk about the benefits, right? We spoke about what's preventing your traditional agent. Let's talk about the benefits of a buyer consultation. Well, most of them are pretty much in front of you. Yet there's the short version. What's the short version? It's in that corner. It increases the likelihood they work with us and nobody else. That's really the short version of it. When they walk out of these conversations, these meetings, they're going to be thinking, I want to work with this agent. I don't want to work with any other agent. right? Because you're different. The majority of agents, we said already, are not conducting these type of discussions, presentations, consultations. So it already makes you different, more professional, and better. There's a lot of things that I always say that makes us better than your traditional agent, than the next agent, and 90% of the agents out there. And all you have to do is these little things, right? If you want to be better than the majority of agents out there, well, just conduct one of these. If you want to be better than the majority of agents out there, just tell them what happens next. You want to be better than the majority of agents out there, just pick up the phone. It's just these like small little things that you get into the habit of doing, and it makes you better than the majority of buyers do themselves. Because the majority of them just aren't doing. So you do it, you're better automatically. If you have any questions, by the way, just stop me because I'm going to keep talking unless you guys have a question or you want to add anything, or maybe I'll just in between slides I'll ask you guys if you have any questions. So that's the short version, right? Increase like they work with us and nobody else. Let's do it. What about the longer version? Well, it helps build rapport, trust, connection, loyalty, communicate expertise, competence, all that fun stuff. We're going to set the expectations. We're going to set the expectations of them for us and us of them. And I know it's only like 2 small words, but the better we get at setting expectations, the smoother the transaction will be. Right? And telling them what happens next definitely plays along in setting expectation. And it could actually, we could set the expectation to set the expectation. We can say, hey, Mrs. Buyer, I don't expect you to remember everything that I just said. Yet at the end of every single conversation, I am always going to tell you what happens next. Would that be helpful to you? Why, yes, it would. Great. So we're setting the expectation that we're going to set the expectation. So we're leading the way. But what's our role in the transaction? We're the guys. We're the advisors. We're the consultants. We're the leaders in that relationship. That's what they expect us to be. That's what they want from us. We're actually not going to sell them anything. We're going to advise them. That's the approach that I like to take. I'm not saying you have to take it as well. Yet I found that when they walk into the right one, the perfect one, I don't need to sell them anything. They know. It's just like everybody here is the same. When we saw the cars that we ended up purchasing, we knew, and the shoes that we're wearing, yeah, we knew. It's the same thing. They'll walk in, they'll know this is the right one, the perfect one. I don't need to sell them on anything. I just need to take them to it. They need to tell me what they're looking for. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to guide them to it. And many times, I'm telling my clients, actually more often than not, it's not a good fit for you. Because of X, Y, Z, do you still want to see it? And then they'll say, oh no, I didn't know that. Never mind. I'm saving myself a lot of time because I listen to their feedback. I know what they're looking for, so I can guide them better. All right. Let's keep going on this one. So we're going to set the expectations. We're going to answer any real estate related questions they have. We're going to educate them about the buying process. The bottom left one is really it's a bold law. If any of you are taking bold or took bold in the past, logic makes them think, emotions make them act. I'm not the most emotional person in the world, actually pretty laid back. Yet I do know one thing, me and many other real estate agents, we're not using enough emotional statements. I'm going to take good care of you. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to find a home that you're going to enjoy for many years to come. Those are emotional statements that they're not logical at all. We just don't say, trust me enough. I'm going to take good care of you enough. Everything is going to be okay. We're all human beings, right? What do we like to hear from another human being especially when you know what hits the fan? Everything's going to be okay. That's what we want to hear. That's an emotional statement, and I think that's the best script out there. And sometimes it's all somebody wants to hear. Right. So internalize that, implement that, use that. Trust me. So there is one thing that's not on here. That's called handling objections. We're gonna have the ability to handle up to 90% of the objections up front with this discussion, this presentation, and it's gonna allow us to have a much more smooth transaction. Right. So when we're talking about submitting offers, we're talking about attorneys, and we're going to talk about the home inspection. We're going to reference all of those. We're going to cover all of those. That way, later on, we're not going to have them pull back, take a step back, and say, "Oh, I need my attorney to review it." Oh, let's send them the whole inspection report. You ever had that happen to you? I did. So it's. It's important to handle as many objections as we possibly can up front with the presentation. Any questions so far? Okay, this is where I get into like the advanced part. I don't do simple. I don't do entry point stuff. I like to get straight into it, and then I'm gonna try to connect everything to you. So if you need a little bit more time to internalize the information, just kind of ask me questions, okay? But this is where everything's gonna connect. So I'm gonna talk about a few things. Talk about structure. I'm gonna talk about value proposition, and then we're gonna connect everything together. Okay, here we go. All right. Any questions in Zoom land? Not that I can hear anybody. I don't even know who's on it. Just unmute yourself and let me know, because I have no idea what's going on Zoom land. So I'm going to do my thing unless you unmute yourself and let me know.
All good.
Value
All
proposition. I got a question for you guys. What does it cost to hire a buyer's agent in the state of New Jersey? $0. So, Miss Buyer, would you like, for the price of $0, would you like to hire an amateur or an expert?
Expert.
Oh, an expert. Well, I'm glad we're speaking now. So in a weak moment, you don't hire a weak agent, because we're experts. It's important to understand that value proposition is what is the key, right? It's what separates you from everybody else. So we're going to look to communicate as much value as we possibly can, again, to increase the likelihood they work with us and nobody else. So we're always communicating value proposition in our initial conversations, in our pre-qualifications, in our buyer consultations, and throughout every conversation we have with a client, consumer, prospect. We're always looking to communicate value proposition. So what are some of the value propositions that a buyer's agent can communicate, can provide? Well, they're pretty much on the board. Expertise and knowledge, previewing homes, basically seeing it before they do. Obtaining in multiple offer situations, which is a big thing now. Over communicating, negotiation skills, accommodating, vendor networks, off-market homes, preparation and guiding. That's both them and us, and of course, understanding the local market. And any other value propositions probably kind of fit into one of these that are already on the board. Yet, what I find when I speak, and I speak to many agents, I've spoken to thousands of agents over the years. What I found was that the majority of agents might know their value proposition. That's not the difficulty, that's not the challenge. The obstacle, the difficulty is actually in the communication of their value proposition. I'll give you guys an example. If I asked each and every single one of you right now, you don't have to answer out loud in your head. If I asked you right now, why should I hire you? Why should I work with you? Why should I choose you? What are you telling me right now? And that's the difficulty. The majority of agents just don't have that elevator pitch. They don't have that value proposition ready to communicate in words. So I give agents a simple tip, right? And I use it often. You've actually already heard me use it. And I use three statements that help me communicate very easily. Would this be helpful to you? Would this be of value to you? Does this benefit you? That's it. We're communicating value proposition and we're obtaining compliance. We're obtaining yeses at the same time because of the way that we phrase the questions. How does it sound in the real world? Mr. Miss Buyer, would it be helpful to you if I saw every single home before you did? Called previewing homes. Why yes, it would. Mr. Miss Buyer, would it be of value to you to work with an agent that can obtain multiple offer situations at a much higher conversion rate than your traditional agent? Why yes, it would. Mr. and Miss Buyer, would it benefit you if we can accommodate you any day or time? Because you're actually hiring a team of 14 people. So if I'm not available, then Michael's available. If Michael's not available, then Angela's available, so on and so forth. Would that be of value to you? Why yes, it would, and so on and so forth. So I'm communicating value and I'm obtaining compliance because they're saying yes, and yes. When you ask a question, would this be helpful to you? The answer is more than likely going to be yes. It's not we're actually fishing for the yeses, and the more yeses they obtain, the more likely they are to work with. So how does it work in the grand scheme of things when we're pre-qualifying, doing a buyer consultation and discussion? Well, let's get right into that. Any questions so far? Okay, that means I'm doing a really good job. Okay, let's talk about the structure of a buyer presentation. Right, so we can get to it. We've all been in school. We all had to write essays for our teachers. I'm not saying you guys liked it, but we had to do it anyway. The teachers, they always required or requested that the structure of the most basic of essays be what? What's the first paragraph? Introduction. What's the last paragraph? Conclusion, close. And what's in the middle? The body, right? And how many paragraphs they usually say they want minimum in the body? Usually 3, right? And well, interestingly enough, well, the structure of a buyer presentation is no different. And that's why I use that analogy, because it's really easy for everybody to remember. Hey, we know exactly what to say. We know exactly how to structure it. It's not this really long, overwhelming, crazy script to internalize it. That doesn't need to be that way. It could be, it doesn't need to be that way. You see, tell me about yourself. Hire me, choose me, work with me, and then buying process, market conditions, and needs analysis. That's the most basic buyer presentation that we can have. Now, can anybody do that? Any agent can do that. Actually, whether you're a new agent or a veteran agent, anybody can do that. Yeah, so you know exactly what to say. Any questions about that? No? Okay, great. Now I'm not saying that you have to do a 5-point presentation. You can add points, right? You can add 2 additional points. You can make it 10 points. You can make it 20-point presentations. Add whatever you like. Obviously, it's going to elongate the conversation, the presentation. The one caveat, really, with needs analysis, does that take a long time to do a needs analysis, or does it take a short amount of time? What do you guys think? It's very short, actually, and there's a reason for it. What's that reason? What's the reason that your needs analysis is not going to be too long? Let's dig a little bit deeper. They might know what they like and not like. By the way, I don't know how many clients you guys. I don't know what your experience is in here, but does it ever change? Like, do they tell you at the presentation, "Oh, I like this, I don't like this," and all of a sudden when you're showing them homes, does that change? Yeah, it does. So we're discovering via feedback when we're actually doing the physical showings a lot more than actual the presentation. Yet right now, when we're talking about most important to you, hey, what's most important to you and your family? Hey, what's a non-negotiable? It doesn't matter how you want to phrase it, how you want to ask the question. If that list is higher than like 2 things, they're not buying a house. What makes me say that? There's only 2 houses for sale.
Yeah.
Right? If you're telling me that you're looking in this area, in this price range, and there's only 2 active homes in that price range, yeah, you're not buying a house if you have a laundry list of items. Now, if you're looking for a $2.5 million house and there's 20 homes for sale, that discussion is actually going to be longer. So depending on the market conditions or depending on the product that we're looking at, because it very, very well may be a product that has a lot of options. If it's a product that has a lot of options, we don't have to show them every single house. Again, it goes back to the needs analysis, right? And also us doing the footwork in advance, previewing the homes for them so we don't have to waste their time. I'm going to jump off to the side for a second. How long does it take for us to preview a home, and how long does it take to show a home?
Oh, 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
To what?
Preview.
You take a long time to preview.
It depends.
Yeah, I'm in and out quick. I'm like 3 minutes, I'm in and out. So depending on the client, it could take 5 minute showings or it could be 30 minute showings.
Yeah.
I know that I'm walking into a home to preview, 3 minutes, I'm in and out, I get it. Because yeah, I get the layout, I get the pros, I get the cons, I've seen it, great, in and out. If you didn't see the home before you showed it to them, you may be stuck in there 30 minutes. Now, there are these clients, these buyers that walk into a home, and the moment they step into the home, they know they're not buying this home, but they're gonna spend 30 minutes in that home anyway, which is kind of annoying. So if we preview the home before and we say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, this property is not a good fit because of XYZ, we don't have to show the home. And that's the benefit of actually seeing the homes before they do. Of course, sometimes we can't because it's here today, gone tomorrow, so we don't even get to see it or shows them. That happens sometimes too. That's also why delayed showings are kind of annoying, because we know that there's a large amount of activity. Spread it out, please, unless there's a concern. I'm not a big fan of delayed showings. So it's just why it doesn't benefit anybody really. So let's get back on topic. What was I talking about? I get distracted easy. So it's like we're going to discover what they're looking for, and then again show them just the right ones. It's not, we don't get a medal or a trophy or a cookie for showing them the most amount of homes. We don't. Our job is not to show them the most amount of homes. Our job is to show them the right ones, to guide them. That's our job. So if you want to work less, make more, you're gonna do the footwork, right? You're gonna listen to what they're to what they want. You're going to go see the inventory, even if you're not familiar with the area. Listen, if they're saying just, whatever town, it doesn't matter if it's Wayne or any other town in New Jersey, if they say, I'm looking in this area, in this price range, how many homes are between 600 and 700 in any particular town? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, great. How long is it going to take you to actually see those homes? I'm not saying go see everything. I'm saying go see the ones in their price range. How long is it going to take you to actually see those homes before they do? It's a value proposition. It's going above and beyond that the majority of agents aren't doing. It also gives you a higher level of expertise in that product in that area. And all of a sudden, obviously, you're physically seeing it. You know the layouts, you know the pros, you know the cons, the defects, the good stuff, the bad stuff. Also, you're also having conversations with who? The listing agents. They're giving you information. Hey, I have multiple offers. Hey, the deadline's here, deadline's there. I don't have any offers. It's been on the market for 30 days. You're gonna gain a wealth of information and a higher level of expertise, and I would add a higher level of confidence just by going to see a few homes. And how long is it going to take you to go see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homes? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. If it's only in one area, it doesn't take that long. So what are we doing? What are we doing with our time? What are we doing with our days? If this is your net, listen,
an hour 15.
okay, fine. But if this is your 9 to 5 and you're putting in 60 hours a week, I know how crazy that sounds, because we left 40-hour jobs to do 60-hour jobs, but it's okay because we like it, or else we wouldn't be doing it. What are we doing with our time, right? We're preparing for the opportunities, right? We're creating our systems, we're improving our skill set, and yes, we're previewing homes. It's one of the 10 forks, right? It's a basic fundamental thing. Preview homes. So at least if you have a client and it's like your only client, you might want to actually work for them on their behalf behind the scenes. So it's just it's a small little thing that I'm proposing to you and encouraging you to do. Just if you know that somebody's looking for something, well, just take a little bit of time and go see the inventory before you actually show it to them. Because they're coming from New York City. The last thing we want to do is waste their time or our time, right? You show up to the house and all of a sudden you realize, hey, wait a minute, there's a highway behind the house. Hey, wait a minute, this is on a double yellow line. Hey, wait a minute, this is in a flood zone. Like that's stuff that we could have checked out before. How long would that have taken us? The majority of agents just don't take the time to do a little bit of research. And there's this new invention. It's really amazing. It's called Google. Okay. It doesn't take that long to look up the schools, how many high schools, how many middle schools, how many elementary schools, what's the population size, where's the nearest train station, where's the best express bus stop. Isn't that information that people will ask us at the showing? Yeah. So you might want to take a few minutes to research all that stuff. Look at the maps, see where it's located, see if there's a park behind it, see if it's on a double yellow line, so on and so forth. If it's in Side Street USA, it's just take a few minutes just before your meetings, just to obtain the information, and it'll definitely improve your confidence level, and it won't waste your time, because the last thing you want is to show up to a house and there's a train track right on the side of the house, and then you realize you just wasted everybody's time.
Or a cemetery.
Yeah, yeah, you can see that on the map too. I'll show it to you on the map.
I looked.
Yeah.
And then I went and viewed it and saw it.
Yeah. And it's not for everybody, so you let them know, hey, you ask them, just to let you know there is a cemetery across the street or behind the house or on the right side of the house. Is that okay? If they say yes, great. Listen, I've had people like purchase in flood zones, and I've had people purchase on high traffic streets. It just depends what's important to them. Some people it's not important to them. Some people it is. Some people don't mind the cemetery. Some people don't mind a lot of work. Some people don't mind this or that. It's just you have to discover that. You can't assume. Don't take your opinion and lay it on them. It's just you're not living in the house. You're not paying the mortgage there. So we have to discover what they want, what they like, what's important to them, and then we have to guide them, regardless of what we think about the house. Has it happened before that I walked into the house and I'm thinking to myself, this is a piece of what? And they said, I love it. Yeah, it's happened plenty of times before. So like, yeah. So you don't take your opinion, just say, oh, it's not for you.
Right.
You're not buying the house. There. It's not our job to give, it's our job to advise and guide them. Okay, do you like the house? now this is what happens next. This is where we come in, okay? So when we're talking about value proposition, we're talking about structure, we're talking about the buyer presentation, we're halfway through. How does it all connect? How does it all connect? Well, you see the value proposition here. We're communicating value throughout. So even in the initial conversation, the pre-qual that we're pre-qualifying them, in the buyer presentation and every other conversation, what are we doing? We're communicating value. We're obtaining yeses. And at the very end, when we're going, work with me, choose me, hire me, it's an easier yes. Right? And if they say no, let me think about it, there's something in our presentation we need to improve. You see how everything connects? So that's why I said it's a little bit more advanced in your entry level course. It's more psychological, right? If you get 10 yeses, you're more likely to get an easier yes at the very end. Any questions so far?
The meeting I had at 10.
Got all that? Every word I said, I'm gonna quiz you after? Yeah? Okay. What I like to do at this point is I like to do a role play. I found that many agents they like to watch other agents role play over themselves. So is that okay with you guys? Role play that real quick, a real quick basic 5-point buyer consultation presentation. It'll take about 17 minutes. And then we'll be done for the day. Yes? Maybe? No comment? Yes? Okay, I see nodding heads. Okay. Who wants to volunteer to be a buyer? Say a bunch of yeses. Yeah, okay, great. Why don't we do it over here so everybody can see us, because I don't even know who's in Zoom and whatnot, but you sit here, and I do actually use the slideshow for my buyer presentations. I always share the slideshow. Whoever wants it, I'll just email it to you after. There is actually three things that I want to mention to you guys. One, if you watch 1,000 agents role play a buyer consultation, you will see it in 1,000 different ways. There is no right or wrong, it's whatever's best for you. They do it in different ways. Some they'll be talking more, which is some the client's talking more, some have visuals, some are using a questionnaire and just going question by question. Some are taking their buyer guides and actually that's their presentation, they're going page by page. There's no right or wrong. If you see something that you like that I do or say, by all means, make it your own, implement it, internalize it. If you see something that I do that you don't like, well, forget about it, don't worry about it. You're going to customize your presentations and what you do and what you say that will benefit you most, that will improve your conversion most, because we're all different personalities, we all have different levels of expertise, we all offer different things. So just keep that in mind. And the setting, all right? So typically when when I meet with a buyer for a presentation, there's something that happened before the initial conversation, the initial contact happened before. I'm pre-qualifying them. I know exactly what they're looking for. LPMOM is the acronym for the pre-qual. And I have answers to all of those questions. I have an idea, give or take, what I'm working with. So I know how much time, energy, and effort I need to invest in them. Even if they're not ready, I'm still having the buyer consultation, by the way. And they may say, well, I don't have a down payment. I'm not pre-approved. That's okay. I'm still going to meet with them for one major reason. NAR research shows that 70% of buyers, they hire the buyer's agent they meet with face-to-face first. So I want to be the first one, and then I want to stay top of mind. So even if they're not ready, they're only 6 months away, a year away, 4 years away, whatever it is, I still want to be the agent that meets them face to face first, and then I can drip on them, right? I can nurture that relationship. So I think it is important to still have. But again, if you don't want to have the buyer consultation because they're not ready, that's fine. It's your business. I'm never going to say something's right or wrong. I'm going to say if there's a better way. So, excuse me, I'm always looking for the better way. To improve my conversion, to improve my numbers, to arrive at the outcome, the accomplishment, the achievement that I'm looking for, right? So setting wise, two things happen. As soon as I have the initial contact, the pre-qual, as soon as I hang up, what happens? This is the tip I give a lot of agents. I don't know how many agents actually do it. As soon as I hang up, I create an email. I'm composing an email. What is that email? It's an intro email. And attached to that email is a buyer's guide and what an offer looks like. What did I just do? I handled an objection. When's the first time that a traditional agent presents that document known as an offer to their clients. When is the first time that a buyer might usually sees that document? Oh, what, you like this home enough to submit an offer on it? Great, amazing. Here's a legal document you've never seen before in your life. Please sign. Now, what's the objection that we usually get?
What the hell am I looking at?
Yeah, let me read it word for word. Let me show it to my friends.
It's due in 2 hours.
Yeah, let me show it to my attorney. And then of course, what happens to the house? By the time they get back to you, like she said, bye, like in Sync said, right? So it's gone. So we don't want that to happen. That is an objection that we get often. It is a common buyer objection. We can handle it upfront. This is an easy way to do it. Attach it to an email, let them review it. At the buyer consultation presentation, now it's a 60-second script. We're handling that. And then when time comes, sign, click, whatever, you're good to go. Right? That's not going to hold us back. Same thing with inspections, same thing with a lot of other objections we're going to handle throughout. But at least in the intro email, they can click, look at my reviews, look at any information I want them to look at. They have the buyer's guide. That same buyer's guide and that offer, I'm actually printing it out. I know it's a lot of office supplies. It's not very green, I get it. But it's an item of value still. I put it in a branded folder. When they show up to the appointment, it's in front of them. There's they have a hard copy of the buyer's guide, a hard copy of what an offer looks like. Some people like to physically touch and read stuff, especially the detail oriented, the scientists, the engineers, the accountants. I like to touch things and read it word for word and mark it up. So if you give them information up front, then you're saving yourself more time because you don't have to explain it in great detail. They've already reviewed it by every single word. So we're handling that objection. We're sending that intro email. I do it all the time. It's just a habit at this point. And then when they show up to the office, which is another question I'll follow up with on a second. It's just that much more smooth. Now I get that question asked often. Well, what if we can't meet at an office? For me, it's easy because most of the homes that I sell are in a particular area, and our office happens to be in that area, so it's real easy to go to the office and go down the street, show them the homes. I understand that most agents don't have that ability. Sometimes it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes away. So I do encourage to have a buyer consultation presentation in an office for two basic reasons. One, when they're in an office setting and it's just four walls, they're not distracted. Right? They're not and secondly, when somebody's sitting down, they're more likely going to comply. They're more likely to say yes. So those are the two major reasons why you want to have it in an office setting. That doesn't mean if there's a condition, I gotta make it to my kid's soccer game. I don't have time to go to the office. I have a dentist appointment. I don't know, whatever the condition happens to be, there is other options. What's the other options? Zoom. Yeah, you can do a Zoom. All right, and I've done plenty of Zooms in the past.
Coffee shop.
Yeah, you can be in the coffee shop in the middle. Worst case, do it at hopefully it's a vacant house, do it at the house. All right, but don't just drop them, don't surprise them. That's the only tip I can give you. They're more likely to receive the information that you're communicating if you actually prepare them for it. Again, setting the expectations is important. Say, hey, you know what? I get it. You got to make it to your kid's soccer game by 2 o'clock. And we don't have any extra time after we see these two homes or before. So why don't we do this? When we meet at the first house, it's a vacant house. Why don't we have the discussion there? So while we're at the house, we'll talk about the buying process. We'll speak with the market conditions. We'll answer any questions you might have. Sounds good? Yeah, they agreed to it. Great. We're gonna have the discussion there. So we're gonna have an on-the-go type of buyer consultation. It's not perfect, but it's better than not having it. So it's still a conversation that we can have. Obviously when they're in the kitchen, we can talk about the buying process. When we're out in the backyard, we can talk about the market conditions. We're in the basement, we can talk about their needs analysis, what they're looking for. So it's still worthwhile having these conversations that I would say set the expectation that it's going to be, we're going to have it. Okay. First thing off in any presentation, I always start off with gratitude. What was your name?
Kaya.
Kaya. My name's Ron. I don't know if I mentioned my name. I don't remember. I'm going to thank Kaya for her time, and then we're going to get right into it. Okay. Where's my thing? All right, Kaya. Well, first off, Kaya, I want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today. I really do appreciate you spending a little bit of time, and I do trust that you'll get great value out of this conversation.
Great, thank you.
Great.
I'm gonna actually use a script from my buyers that I'm dealing with.
It's okay. The intention or the goal of this conversation today is that to review the buying process and
No,
to
live.
make you feel more comfortable, more confident with this whole thing called buying.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
great. Did you get the email that I sent you, Guy?
I don't know, might have gone to my.
I'm recording it.
Oh, it's okay, and that's fine. When you get a chance, there is a copy of an offer
Okay,
attached to it. It does, there's a buyer guide that kind of reviews what we're gonna be talking about today. So you can take a look at it, and if you have any questions, you can always answer. But I will share with you that the buying process in New Jersey, it's a very pro-buyer process. You should feel very comfortable signing and submitting offers in this in our area here, because technically you're not obligated to anybody or anything by submitting an offer. Let's just say theoretically you submit an offer and you're not interested in a home anymore for one reason or another, I can just call the other agent and say, hey, thanks but no thanks. So it's real easy to withdraw an offer, and then even after you get an accepted offer in New Jersey, we can even cancel it if the attorney needs to do it. We're going to talk about the attorney review period in a moment yet, but you should know is that any party can cancel for any reason. So if for whatever reason you need to cancel, you can always do that. So you should feel very comfortable signing and submitting offers. The goal of submitting an offer is really just to raise our hand, say we're interested, and communicate three things: it's the sales price, the down payment, and the closing date. All that is on page 2 and page 3 of the offer. So should feel very comfortable signing and submitting those. Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. We spoke on the phone a little bit, and you mentioned your family of 4 and 2 dogs, and you're looking to move from Queens, New York to our side of the river, and you're looking for a $500,000 home with at least 3 bed, 2 bath. Is that about right?
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you were looking for a good school district with some mode of transportation to the city.
Yeah.
Great. Is there anything else that's important to you and your family that I should know about?
Definitely need a driveway and garage.
Great, you're in luck. Most homes in this area have driveways and garages. There's very few that don't have garages. Yet, if it's
Oh my God.
important to you, we just won't look at those. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Great. Driveways, they'll differ. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 4. How many cars do you need to fit in the driveway?
2 cars.
Okay, so it needs to be at least a 2-car driveway.
Yeah.
If it has a 1 car, then do you still want to look at it?
Maybe if there's street parking.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else that I should know about?
The basement would be a plus, finished basement if that's possible.
Okay,
And we have been approved for quite a bit, but we really don't want to spend too much more than 550, let's say.
yeah, you mentioned you were pre-approved and you're putting 20% down, is that right?
Yeah.
Is it okay if we talk about the buying process a little bit?
Sure.
Great. I like to simplify things so it's easy for you to remember. I like to minimize it to 3 separate phases. And let's just say we find you the right home, the perfect home. The first period is called the attorney review period. The second, I like to call it the inspection contingency period. And the third and final phase of the transaction, I like to call it the mortgage contingency period. Is it okay if we dig a little bit deeper into those different phases? Great. So yeah, we're going to find you the right home, the perfect home. We're going to obtain that property for you, and then we're going to begin the attorney review period. Now, for the attorney review period, we always recommend that you hire a real estate attorney. Do you know who you're going to be working with?
No, not yet.
Would it be helpful to you if after our meeting today, I would send you over a list of some attorneys that'll take very good care of you?
Yeah, sure.
It's important to have a good real estate attorney, especially in today's environment. We want them to be responsive. We want them to know what's going on. We also want them to charge flat fees. It's just to get us past the attorney review period very quickly, because there's one thing I need you to know about the attorney review period, that any party can cancel for any reason. Now, there's a dozen reasons why a buyer might cancel. There's only kind of one good reason that a seller might cancel. And that reason is that maybe while we're in attorney review, that they get a better offer that they can't say no to, right? Maybe it's $10,000, $20,000 or more. So they can go ahead and just cancel on us and go with that other offer. So it does benefit us to conclude the attorney review period very quickly. Now, the goal of the attorney review period is to come to agreement on all terms and conditions between the 2 parties. Now, how we do that is via a legal document. It's called a rider. So that rider is going to be sent back and forth between the 2 parties, 2 attorneys, and you're going to see a lot of clauses, a lot of statements on it. We're gonna come to agreement on all terms and conditions. Once that happens, we're gonna finalize the attorney review period. Any questions about that?
What happens if during attorney review, I decide, I don't know if I want this house anymore?
That's okay, then we're gonna instruct the attorney to send what's called a letter of termination, letter of cancellation, and we can move on.
And there's no penalization.
There is no, it's a very pro-buyer process, like I said before. The buyer in New Jersey has many more protections than any other state that I've worked in. I've worked in other states before. And it's just, it's a very pro-buyer process here. There's a lot of protections throughout the transaction. So this is one of them. So you can basically cancel without, in this case. And I'm gonna mention it a few more times as we move along. There's other protections that we need to be aware of. So let's just say theoretically, we complete the attorney review period. We came to agreement on everything. We're now entering the inspection contingency period. It's pretty self-explanatory, kind of we're gonna hire a home inspector. They're gonna do a home inspection. They're gonna provide us with a home inspection report. And if there's any concerns on that report, we're gonna review that report together. We're gonna create a short list of concerns. It's usually about 3 to 5 items, whatever the top concerns happens to be. We're gonna communicate it to the other side, the other party. This is a negotiation by all means. It depends what the items are, and we'll go a little bit back and forth. We'll come to agreement. We're going to move forward. Now, the outcome we're looking for is to get you into this home. You've already visualized your family, your furniture, everything in this home. The outcome we're looking for is to close on this property. Let's just say theoretically we can't come to agreement on the inspection contingency, it's called. Well, what happens? Well, buyer can cancel that penalty. So we need to come to agreement on what's called the inspection contingency and move on. Now, notice I didn't say anything about deposits. I didn't say anything about consideration, anything about money exchanging hands, right? Again, that's also another reason why it's very pro-buyer. The additional deposit is what we call it, which is usually about 5 to 10%. It's due when 10 days after completion of attorney review. So normally what happens is we'll conduct a home inspection before we even provide a deposit. So a common question that I get is, well, what if we provided a deposit and we haven't come to agreement on terms yet? Well, that's okay, because if we can't come to agreement on terms, well, buyer can cancel that penalty, which means you get your deposit back. You should feel very comfortable providing a deposit at any point. Okay, so theoretically, we've concluded the first and the second phase. We're entering the final phase. At this point, Kaya, we're going to get the appraisal ordered. That appraisal report will now go to your lender's underwriter's desk. They're going to review your whole file. They're going to provide us with what's called a mortgage commitment letter. I also like to call it a conditional loan approval. It's going to say, Kaya, you've been approved for this house for this amount. Provide us these list of conditions, and we'll give you a full loan approval and what's called a clear to close. Once we hear those magic words, we're going to schedule a day and time for the closing with your attorney. And congratulations, you'll be a homeowner. Now, what I will tell you, Kaya, is that I went through that very quickly, very swiftly. It sounded very smooth and easy. In reality, it's more like a roller coaster ride. There's a lot of ups and downs throughout a transaction. Yet I can share with you that any issue that arises, we're always going to have the best possible solutions to present to you to make a good real estate decision. And we're always going to tell you what happens next. Would that be helpful to you? Great. And I don't expect you to remember everything. That's why at the end of every single conversation, I'm always going to tell you and your family what happens next, so you feel a lot more confident with what's going on. Okay. And if you have any questions at any point in time, you let me know. Do you have any questions about what we've reviewed so far?
No.
Okay, great. Oh, there's one thing that I forgot to mention, by the way. That additional deposit, we said it's going to be 5 to 10%. Let's say theoretically we provided the 5% deposit at the point in time that it's due. Well, what happens to the remaining 15% that you intended on coming down with, plus your closing costs? The rest of it is all due at closing. You just need to have that 5% prepared when the additional deposit. So everything else is due at the closing. Okay.
So if I'm putting 20 to 30% down, only 5 to 10% is.
Correct. So that's what you need to have prepared. Everything else, do it closing.
Okay.
Okay. And if you needed any recommendation, I know many of our clients, they tend to shop around for better mortgage rates, better service. If you need any recommendations to get better fees and better service, I can also send that to you as well. Would that be helpful to you? Great. After we're done with the appointment, I'll send you the attorneys and the preferred lenders as well. Okay. Great. Is it okay if we talk about the market conditions real quick?
Sure.
Great. Do you know the difference between a seller's market and a buyer's market?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, in a buyer's market, there's many more options for buyers to select from. They have more leverage in negotiations. And in a strong seller's market, which describes pretty much what we're in right now, there's less supply. It's a key indicator. Sellers are getting what they're asking for and more. Sometimes properties are here today, gone tomorrow, multiple offers. So in any market, what I'll share with you is that there's really only two types of products. It's not necessarily a buyer market product or a seller market product. There's two types of products. There's 80% of the products, doesn't matter if it's 10 homes or 100 homes, about 80% is what I call overpriced, and they can be overpriced by $10,000 or $100,000. And then the other 20% of the product is you're priced correctly here today, even maybe underpriced on tomorrow type of product. Now, you, Kaya, as a buyer, would you know what type of product it is if it's overpriced or priced correctly, walking to any particular home?
I don't think so.
Well, good news is you have me. You see, every home that we walk into, Kaya, there's no guesswork. I'm going to share with you, hey, Kaya, you know what? Don't look at the list price. They're overpriced. Not you. Somebody else is willing to pay X. Or Kaya, you know what? Don't look at the list price. They're going to get, quite a few offers. It's going to get competitive. Not you. Somebody else is willing to pay Y for it. Would that be helpful to you? And that's what I'm doing. Every home that we walk into, especially if you like it, I'm going to share with you what somebody else is willing to pay for it.
So in this market, though, it's like discouraging if you're going into a home that seems well priced and then you find out that it's getting offers that are so out of the ballpark. How do you have a chance as a buyer in this situation at all? Like, how do you make a decision?
Information is key, and I'm going to communicate that information to you. My job is really to communicate the information to you so you can make a good real estate decision to remove that guesswork. And what's going to happen sometimes is that we may hit our max. We may hit that 500 max and somebody else is willing to pay more. That's okay. It's not in our control. Maybe we went above. Maybe it's a 450 house and we went to 500 and somebody was willing to pay more, and that's okay. Sometimes I'll tell you, you know what, Kaya, there's 27 offers on this house. And you're gonna say that's too crazy. Let's go next. So we're gonna worry about what we can control and not worry about what we can't control. Okay. Yet you will have the information to make a good real estate decision. That I can promise you. Sounds good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sure. So there's also the topic of open houses and other listings. Is it okay if we talk about those things? So there's other listings called for sale by owners. More than likely, we're already in touch with all the for sale by owners in the area, and any listing that you want to see, doesn't matter what the company is. You can go visit their open houses. Feel free to go as many as you like, whether I'm with or without you. I'm just going to ask you to do one thing at the open houses. That's when you sign in with my name, so that way when you're with your family or walking your dogs, you're not getting calls for feedback from these listing agents that conduct the open house. They'll call me and I'll get feedback. Could you do that for me? Great. And then when it comes to for sale by owners, we're already in touch with them. And same thing, we're going to represent you the same way in a normal transaction as we would for sale by owner. The one thing I ask in those cases, if you see an address online or you see a sign, you just text me the address or text me a picture of the sign with the phone number. I'm going to go ahead and schedule the appointment. Could you do that for me? Great. And there's one clear benefit of working this way. Let's just say, do you remember that conversation we just had where there's 80% are overpriced and 20% are priced correctly? Well, the majority of for sale by owners happen to be overpriced, and listing agents, they tend to squeeze as much as they can for their clients, for their sellers. Now, theoretically, let's just say there's a for sale by owner or a listing agent, and they want $500,000 for this home. Not you. Somebody else is only willing to pay $470,000. Do you think that seller or that listing agent, do you think that they're going to push you towards the 500? Or they're going to promote your best interest like I will and negotiate towards that 470?
That's not a reach push for like 500.
Absolutely, and that's again what you need me for, because I'm going to promote your best interest and I'm going to negotiate on your behalf the best possible outcome. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So we spoke about the pre-approval. You said you're good to go. I'm going to send you that list of recommended lenders. They'll take very good care of you. Did you have any questions about anything that we discussed, anything that we reviewed?
No.
Great. What I need you to know, Kaya, is that you're not just hiring one person, you're hiring a team of 10 agents, and we all work for you, and it's for the price of $0. And what that means is that if we need to go see this house today before it disappears, and I'm not available, let's say I'm away or I'm not feeling or I have another appointment or whatever the case may be, that somebody will always be there to accommodate you. There's If I'm not available, then Mike will help provide you access. If Michael's not available, then Tally will be available. If Tally's not available, Sarah will be available. There's always somebody that will be able to accommodate you. Do you see the benefit in that? Yeah. So we're always available to you, and I'm your point of contact for sure. But if for whatever reason I can't make it, then I'm gonna make sure that somebody else can. Okay. So you just let me know day and time, and I'll make sure we're there.
Sounds good.
Sure. So, if there's no other questions, let's go house hunting.
Okay.
All right. And that's just a basic 5-point, actually, it's a 7-point presentation because I added the open house and the for sale by owner in there. I covered everything. Like, we did the needs analysis super quick because I already pre-qualified and I don't want to do a laundry list. And I talked with the market conditions. I spoke with the buying process. That's it. That's basic. Is this something that should scare us? Not really. No. I mean, we have these conversations every single day. So yeah, I mean, I think that anybody can have that conversation, not necessarily in those words or in that way, and you can make it your own. But it's not a difficult conversation to have, right? Anybody can do it. Any questions?
Do you leave the list, like the listing, the information with them, or you just go
Yeah.
over it with a slide?
No, not the slide. They have the buyer's guide, the packet, whatever you want to call it.
Okay,
They have the offer. They have any additional documents I want to provide, maybe the customer reports for homes I'm going to show them. They have everything printed out.
okay, and do you have a list that you automatically send over attorneys and?
Yeah, we do have the preferred. Yeah.
Okay, so you created one and
Right.
just email it over.
Right, our market centers actually have the market centers themselves have a preferred attorney list. So
Okay.
there's a dozen attorneys on each of the market centers list, so I just take a picture and just text them that sometimes.
Okay,
Yet I do have my top 3, which I just send all of them, and I know that all of them are about the same price. All of them will take good care of them, it just depends who they connect with.
okay,
And then they might say, oh, who do you recommend? After I sent the top 3, and I say, just use this person. And so you're supposed to send 2 or 3, you're supposed to send the different options, not just one, just for liability's sake.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it that way. The end, unless you guys have questions. Yes, Jay.
Regarding for sale by owner. How do you get compensated if it's important?
So it's a good question. It happens once or twice a year. It doesn't happen too often that we're doing transactions for sale by owners. Almost every single one that I've done in the past, they say we're not working with agents. Well, guess what? They end up paying me. Because when it's in front of their face, the contract, and on page 11, it says whatever the agreed upon commission was, they'll pay it. And now I will share with you that the for sale by owners, they don't need, or anybody really, they don't need us to sell a house. They need us to sell a house at top dollar. And that's just a distinction that it's hard for them to perceive. They think that they can get top dollar on their own, and that's just not the case. They have no idea how crazy the market, the conditions are. We can, as agents, if we expose it to everybody and we go through the motions, we actually strategically do what we do to obtain top dollar. That means our listing strategy, our pricing strategy, our marketing strategy, our negotiation strategy, and we can communicate that clearly to them and show them examples. We can get them tens of thousands of dollars more. It's way above the net they're going to receive is way above what they can get on their own. So it's just, you know, if they want to be stubborn, they're leaving money on the table. I can guarantee you they're leaving money on the table. It's so crazy that the environment that we're in right now, like they could be leaving, I'm not even kidding, like it's not 10,000, they could be leaving like 50, 80, $100,000, like they don't even know it. It's to that degree. So I highly recommend anybody like, why wouldn't I sell it for sale? I'm a real estate, why wouldn't I sell it on my own? Like just not off market, because I know that exposing it to everybody will get me top dollar. So why would I recommend them to do it? There's no way I'm recommending anybody do it for sale by owner right now, because it's just so crazy. You want to expose it to as many eyeballs as you want, because there's this one person that will go crazy above everybody else. But if you didn't expose it, if you didn't put it on the multiple listing, and you don't know how to squeeze top dollar by with the listing strategy, you list it on a certain day, you do an open house on this day, on this time, you do a highest and best by this time, this will get us top dollar. Day in, day out, every single day. So it's important to have the ability to communicate that strategy clearly, or to communicate that value proposition clearly, or that path clearly. It's important. And yeah, they always end up paying us, to answer your question. I've never not been paid for myself. Even though they said almost every single time, I'm not working with an agent. Okay, the end. So I guess I should thank you guys for coming at this point. I'm also gonna welcome you to reach out to me that way. I always do. You can call me, text me, email me, whenever you guys have a question, need help with anything, just feel free. I'm always very responsive. Usually if I don't respond back in 2 minutes, something probably happened to me. Just feel free to reach out with any questions, okay, guys?
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.